the difference between income and eternal impact. In this video, we will have a look at why by hitting your revenue targets may look good on paper, but it doesn't guarantee impact. And I want to talk about why Christian entrepreneurs must pursue impact that outlasts their revenue. And this is an interesting topic to discuss today because it's something that I'm currently wrestling with. It's something I'm currently going through. The thing is, in here, I know what I should be doing, but because of external cues and influences, it's pulling me in a different direction. And so that's what we'll explore in this video. So, the difference between income and eternal impact. So, first of all, what exactly is income for? Well, income, you would need to have enough money to sustain your lifestyle. However much that is to sustain your lifestyle, that's entirely up to you based on where you are in the world. And you need to make money in order to sustain and grow your business. So, in many ways, financial success, or one way that I like to define financial success, is that you are no longer a slave to money. You are making more money than you need per month. Your life is not dominated on where the next paycheck is going to come from. And whether that means that you are making just enough to get by, or whether it means you have enough money that will last, you have your investments providing passive income that substantially exceeds your monthly expenses, and you don't have to worry about working again, and you're focusing on building generational wealth and all of that. Again, financial success, as long as you're no longer thinking about money constantly and you have some level of security at the minimum, you are financially successful. So, what often happens is in business and in work or everything else is that we like to pursue chasing a financial target. Well, we have to, don't we? We have to pursue a financial target because it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We need to fulfill we need to put food and water on the table and have shelter and not have to worry about the burdens of money before we can focus on other things. And that's perfectly okay. We need to have a certain amount of money in the business so we can first sustain the business, and two, so we can grow the business to get our message out and to impact more people. The problem is that when you've achieved financial success, using my definition that I've said earlier, that you subsequently create your next goal, which is the pursuit of more money, which is exactly what I did. I achieved financial security, and then immediately I set myself a financial target which was almost 3 times more than what I was currently making, and that became my next North Star. And that ultimately resulted in a whole lot of problems for me, and it resulted in a whole lot of problems because, well, number one, I was constantly worried about my own financial security, which seems absurd, and it was absurd, and I can say that now in hindsight, because we were financially secure at the time, and we didn't have to necessarily worry about making more money. But I was constantly concerned about security because I had a contract with a client, and that contract ended after I set myself a target of almost tripling what I was making, and then suddenly I had to go from 0 up to the new number instead of going from 0 up to a smaller number, and so I put myself under so much pressure in order to do it, and I've attached my self-worth and identity towards this higher monthly amount, which was all of a sudden so far off into the horizon, and that just led to problems. And another case was that, as the saying goes, make hay while the sun shines. When we were financially secure by some divine intervention as well, we managed to invest the money in a strategic way, and that gave us some degree of longer term financial security, not super long term, but you know, I was able to close the business and stop putting money into the business and take time off to regroup, kind of thing, and to discern what my calling was. But because of I was chasing money and chasing income and the financial goal, well, I just got so it basically became a form of idolatry, because in many ways I wanted to hoard it. Greed took over. Did not want to let go of what I'd accumulated. Constantly scared of losing it, and well, of course the reason is it's a deep psychological principle, because humans we have a stronger fear of loss of something that we've gained, and so when you've gained something, you're scared of losing it, which causes anxiety and burnout. And you know, it just wasn't good. As a result of me trying to chase the next financial target, all my decisions were made through a financial lens, which was the way that I was interacting with people, with prospects, content, the people on my team, the freelancers I hired. Everything was through a financial lens of how much money could I make from you at this moment in time, while simultaneously getting upset that clients and people I was talking to and working with only viewed me as a cost per hour and a return on investment, and did not value my unique humanness, which that contradiction was there, and very real. And then another thing that happened to me was I started to neglect my marriage. My marriage became strained, not problematic, but I was not being the best husband to my wife. I was not being the best father to my young child, and unfortunately all of the stress and anxiety and burnout that I had, all of the inner, what's the word, the best way to describe it was that there was like some kind of inner storm going on inside of me, building with stress constantly when everything was based on money, and I couldn't get things to work, I couldn't get clients, I couldn't make money back. The business became a financial black hole, and it was horrendous. And when I used to have all of this stress and anxiety build up, which I'd then take out on my wife and son, unintentionally, of course, such as I'd get angry and lose my temper at things much faster than I should. I wasn't adopting an attitude of having patience with a young child at the time, and it was just really bad, if I'm being honest. And all this came as a result of me chasing income. And then I went through my own transformation when I became Christian, and I adopted biblical principles, and I decided that I wanted to build a business that's focused on impact above money, above all other things. And the pursuit of what I found was, what I discovered as well was that the pursuit of impact above everything else intrinsically gives meaning and purpose to the work that you do. The pursuit of impact would be that you are doing things to serve others to the best of your ability. You are doing things to please and glorify God in what you do, and this approach here holds you accountable that you're going to do the best in every situation, because you're doing it to please God and not for yourself. So you don't cut corners, you do the best every time. You act in a way of where you want to try and be a blessing to as many people as possible. You want to act out of extravagant love all the time, humble service, having integrity, radical generosity, and treating people as if they're humans. and focusing on what impact you're going to have over income, which gives meaning and purpose to things. And it's this mindset which completely flipped things around for me. It's measuring your success not on what the world says you should, such as the amount of money in your bank account, the car you drive, where you live, the clothes you wear, hitting KPIs and sales targets and revenue and profit margins and all of this stuff. But instead to have an attitude of you're measuring your success based on how many meaningful connections you made, how many people that you positively impacted today, and focusing on that beyond other things. And that's what's given me the meaning and purpose in my life, and it really is completely transformed the way that I'm doing things, which leads me to the current crossroads that I'm at. And this has probably been the story of my life, to be honest with you, in terms of business. And that is that I find myself at a crossroad. And okay, so before, let me introduce this concept by something Myron Golden said. He's a entrepreneur that talks on YouTube a lot about integrating business with biblical principles, especially setting high ticket offers, which directly resonates with me, what I used to do, what I'm doing now, and all of that. And I heard him talk about how a common theme in the Bible is that whenever you set your intention, disruption always follows. Disruption, not destruction. And what that means is that you set your intention, you commit to something, you step out to do things, and then everything hits you at once, everything goes wrong, nothing seems to work, and then you actually see the reality of what you have to do. You see the reality of the mountain that you're going to climb, which is when self-doubt creeps in, which is what's happened to me now. I won't go into the details of why the self-doubt has crept in, but essentially it's resulted in me being at a crossroad. And this crossroad is, do I take this path here where I follow what I believe to be my calling, but I'm also having self-doubt on that calling, or do I stop, reevaluate things and focus on going down this path here, which is going to align more with my own worldly desires of I need to start making money in order to sustain my lifestyle and to reinvest in the business before, so I don't have to start selling my investments, which I worked so hard to get, and what's providing that safety net. And this is what I've been struggling with, and this is what I've had some level of stress about over the last couple of days. And this is the story of my life. You commit to doing something, you then take the step outwards, and then the reality of what you want to do hits you. And because you have no support, no accountability, no nothing, when you're relying just on yourself, this is the time for me when I do in the business world what's said so many times, it's time to pivot, it's time to pivot, it's time to pivot, which is what I did. I used to pivot all the time, change my offer, change my target audience, change this, and didn't really commit to anything. And that is the trap and the situation that I'm currently in. Well, now that I've been kind of thinking through and talking through on these videos that I've been recording today, I think if I look at what the concept here is, that the difference between income and eternal impact, and looking at my past experience where when I was chasing income before, it resulted in all of the negative things that happened to me. It pretty much made my life more miserable every week, and especially more miserable to those around me. You know, constant anxiety, burnout, loss of passion, loss of enthusiasm, fear of loss, of losing what I've gained, stress, just a whole bunch of these negative things which just was not good. That's what is very likely to happen if I take that one path. And then I look at what I've been talking about here, that the pursuit of impact gives everything meaning. And so that's what's going to happen if I go down this path. So at this point, when I'm at the crossroads, is I'm starting to have self-doubt. I'm starting to be unsure about things. So what do? Do I revert back to the old way and go down this path here, which is the path that I've been on before, chasing money and knowing where it leads? Or do I have the faith and do I continue down the other path where I'm focusing on impact over everything else and having faith that it's going to work out for me and that God does have a plan for me? And I think after talking through it on this video and the previous videos, that deep down I knew what to do. Anyway, I knew what I should be doing anyway, but talking through things today is just kind of giving me that confirmation to at least act in faith to do things, because this time, as an atheist, you have no accountability, nothing other than yourself, whereas looking at it through the Christian lens, when you do things in a way that you know would please God, gives you that accountability to do things. And that's my own story, and that's the challenge that I'm going through, and that's all I've got for you. Just to summarise, that maybe you can see yourself in the struggles that I went through in the past. Maybe you can see yourself in the present moment struggles that I'm going through. While I have found a solution to it, it is kind of hard as well to actually stick to your guns and follow through with things when you start to have that self-doubt. So if any of this resonates with you, I hope you found comfort or at least some insight or anything that can be of benefit to you from this video. That's all. See you next time.